Alright, let's continue. I decided to just finish this one in a shorter video, then we can move on to the next stuff in the next video. But I'll just give a little preview of it though before the end. There'll be time for that. We can relax now. We've got a little bit of time now to finish. So as I said, everything which is created at each point, it seems, is created out of necessity. Like God needs the lung, then he needs the ear, then he needs the cleaning system, which he thinks like 2 heartbeats in advance usually, and uses them then. He needs the skull to put everything. Needs the earth to put things on. As he creates the earth and the things, he creates the body as well at the same time. Both the head and the rest of the body. Like each part is required at each time. Like so first. So after he's created the earth, of course, which is just like a ball, a formless ball in the beginning, he then needs a simple limb with which to touch the earth. So he creates like the leg. It's like a simple hand, like just a nice simple thing to touch, move around, which we also move to touch and move around the earth. So, but of course he needs a second one, a more complex one. Once he's got the one to hold it in place, he needs now like a hand. As I say, this is a right hand, not a left hand, a right hand. So like the left leg then is acting like the left hand, and the right hand comes in. He puts forth his hand, which is the spiritual light which is in the form of himself, and that gives light to everything and allows him to do things with the physical things, with the light, because light and matter, they're all like made from the same stuff, which is the word. So he issues forth the word then, which is his hand. And then he needs an eye to see the light. Now remember, this is spiritual light, not sunlight. So this is an eye of spirit, which he needs to see the light. And then he sees the light, and he sees that it's good. And then we get to this portion which is in opposition from the head. This portion of desire, when he wants more. He wants things like himself, which aren't controlled by him. And he wants to eat plants and stuff, and touch things, and experience his creation. So then he creates the mouth and the digestive system, and the bladder, of course, to remove the bad water, and the genitals to create life, the life that he wants. And of course he creates the vocal cords and the tongue. Once he's divided the water to create the air, remember now, so now he creates the vocal cord and the tongues to speak and sing into the air. Of course he doesn't do that yet, because because we'll get to that later. Then of course, after he's created the desire parts and he's created the genitals with which to pour out the life, then he plants his seed in the earth, like pulls the water clothing out of the way and plants his seed in there, his bride which he's made, and creates the plants for him to eat. So then he needs the lower jaw, of course, with which to eat the plants. And then of course now the earth is nice and dry and a nice surface. He creates a second leg with which to stand upon, balance upon the earth and walk across it, like change position easily. So you don't have to hop around or walk on his hand. Plus the plants, of course, they need light, so then next he creates the sun and the stars and that. takes away the air, the hydrogen portion of the air, which was explosive and that, and which would just float away anyway, off into space. And then he creates the stars, the light, the sunlight, and then of course he needs the physical eye of flesh with which to see the physical light himself. Then of course now we've only got oxygen, he creates the lung with which to breathe it. And then of course he creates as he's creating the birds of the air, then he creates the ear with which to hear them, because they start singing and he wants to hear them sing. So he creates the ear to hear them sing, with the physical ear which hears physical sound. And of course he creates the kidney and the mucous system, the physical one, which cleans the physical body and blood, like so the stuff doesn't mess him up, or any of the other life which he's creating, which is all basically created after this design. But, then he ties it all together with the liver and the spinal cord, which connects the brain to all the rest of the body, and like the liver then tills the body for him, like his servant, as he creates man to do the same thing to the earth, like to look after the earth for him, so he doesn't have to do it himself. Like, you don't have to perform the functions of your liver, it just does it itself. All you have to think about is whatever you think about. You don't have to look after your body. All your parts do that for you. So yeah, there you go. Of course, Virgo, of course, is just like the nervous system, like a little. And of course you've got these two circulatory systems going on here, like one for the body, one for the head. Like you've got these, the two. So I think we're about done with that then, because as you see then, at every point, everything is like tied together, it's all made together. It's, of course, God then creates man after his own image and likeness. But all parts of man are physical, like God's parts, like some are spiritual and some are physical, but all the parts of man are physical. But the man who has like two eyes of flesh can also receive eyes of spirit from God, which allow him to see spiritual things, and ears of spirit, which allow him to hear spiritual things, and a spiritual cleaning system, like spiritual kidneys and mucus to get rid of bad spirits off of you, bad air, like bad spirits, and bad things contaminating your body, like you're contaminating your life, like bad habits and evil things you do which cause destruction to the body of the great body of God and to his bride, which is the earth. So, we're done quick there. Yeah, I've probably missed out lots of stuff, but you can check these things out. And I'm always going back, and I spent loads of time going back at the start of this one. So, well, at the start of the last one, rather. So, before we move on then to the next part, I just want to, because all that we've been saying so far is like it's all been like theoretical, but now we're getting to the practical things, because now it all starts to get linked together, because yes, as I said, we can get back to this now. Now you'll notice I've in other videos I've made, I've mentioned about this great pattern behind reality, and with casting lots I was able to identify these 4 elements which are always present, which are behind it always, which are always there, and they also line up with these fire, air, water and earth ideas. It's always the same. So like at its most basic building blocks, we find it's the same as what the things we've been discussing here. But that's something else. We're not discussing that here. We're going on to something else. Because the other thing, of course, is audio-visual synchronicity, where I hope I've clearly demonstrated in the videos that I've made that it's beyond probability. And you should be aware that people might do this intentionally, make films and stuff like this intentionally. But I've made one in the past myself. But I've also made another film, which is currently on my channel, which has been made after absolutely no sort of pattern whatsoever. So I know that if you make your own film, you know that it's not been done intentionally to synchronize with music albums or whatever. But that's what happens. Like this certain pattern going on, which is behind all things, and it's behind music albums, like the albums people make. It's behind radio broadcasts. It's behind like television episodes, films. It's behind church services. Like I had a tape of a church service which synchronizes with a TV episode. It's with all things. It's with just life happens according to these certain patterns, which can be linked together. They have, often they happen at the same speed, so you can link audio and video together, and they're synchronized together. So that's what we're going to be looking at next. But before we begin on that, then just give a little preview, because that's for the next section. But of course, the thing I wanted to mention, of course, was now we're getting into this sort of thing. I just want to really make a distinction, because we've been talking about astrology here. But you notice that astrology isn't a good thing. There are different types of astrology. There's what's commonly called astrology is the attempt to take advantage of these patterns for one's own gain and for gaining benefits over other people, or trying to control events or control people even. I think that's one aspect of astrology, is convincing people to behave a particular way. Like to say, oh, you're a Capricorn, you behave this way, so they go and behave that way. They like notice parts of their personality, but there are patterns which go on, and if you act like an animal, then the more you act like an animal, the more you're controlled by the patterns of nature. But you can break free from that and just be a free spirit, and not be controlled by like the movements of the sun or whatever. Because you notice the sun and the plants and all that, they go around anti-clockwise. That's the wrong way. So you don't follow that. Don't follow the sun and the plants. They go the wrong way. Follow the clockwise movement. But the point is that there's a distinction between these things. I mean, all the things I present, you can take advantage of them. You can predict the future. You can possibly even cause things to happen. And you can, I don't know, take advantage of loopholes and things, to get benefits for yourself. But it's at the expense of your eternal soul. Like, you get rewards for yourself upon the earth by using witchcraft, like by taking advantage of these things. Like, that's one of the things, like one of the problems with astrology and other witchcraft things. It's all about taking advantage and getting benefits for yourself, and deceiving people, harming others or taking from them. And we're not interested in any of that stuff. Okay, so when we see these patterns forming, and we see that we could possibly take advantage of this and use this for our benefit, then we don't even think about that. We don't care about that. We're just interested in God and the things of God. We're just fascinated by them. We just want to know how things work and have things plain. We want wisdom and have all things made plain to us, not so we can take advantage of it, but so we can understand it and understand God, the way He does things, understand the great mystery, like why we're here, what the whole point of being here is, you know. If it begins, then it ends, then, and nothing happens here matters, then whatever, it doesn't matter. You know, but if there's a greater meaning behind everything that you have to search out, then you better search it out then. So, the first thing, a little preview then before we move on to the next episode, part, whatever. We'll begin with some events from the life of Jesus Christ. We'll begin with Taurus here. As he enters into the city, into Jerusalem, on the donkey, on the ass. So this is him, the great priest, and the Spirit of God, all together in one, all together on the donkey, coming in, riding into Jerusalem. And the Pharisees, who are of course the archers, supposed to be like the archers, Sagittarius, are the Antichrist in opposition to him, start attacking him. And of course he sets people free, like performs miracles, proves who he is, like helps people, blind people, makes them see, crippled, makes them walk, does real physical things. And then the time of the Passover comes, when the lamb was to be sacrificed. And then he says to his disciples, go and meet me in the house of the man with the water jug. In the upper room, of course. They meet together in the upper room. So he's leaping forward towards there, so they can meet him later. And then, of course, he takes the fish, breaks the bread, breaks it in half, breaks the bread and says, this is my body broken for you. Then he pours out the cup, says, this is my blood poured out for you. And they ate and drank in remembrance of him. Said, do this in remembrance of me. And of course, as we move on, we get to the Garden of Gethsemane, where now he plays the part of the goat. Of course, the sheep go on the right hand, the goats go on the left hand. The lamb's leaping off to the right, but the goat's stuck facing to the left, looking at the ground. Stuck on the ground, stuck to the earth, and he doesn't want to continue. And he begs that there should be some other way to accomplish salvation. And he begs, but there is no other way. So he says, okay, let's continue. And of course, while he's doing that, of course, he knows that people are coming for him. So he asks his disciples, the eagles, to watch over him while he prays. But of course, you know, as he has his little wrestle with Satan, who attacks him, all the while making everything so difficult for him, trying to make him give up at every moment. And he wrestles with him at this moment of weakness and defeats him. And then so he and Theocus, which is Christ and also his followers, is next to the eagle. So then he becomes the victorious eagle flying above, while his disciples, of course, are fast asleep on the earth. When his betrayer suddenly turns up to attack the backbiting scorpion, and he betrays him with a kiss, as of course the scorpion bite is called the kiss of death, because it produces like a sting on the body that's like 2 human lips. And it's called the kiss of death, because if a scorpion stings you and you've got that, then you're finished. So his friend then betrays him with a kiss, of course, a little fight ensues, like we have a physical battle going on as well as the spiritual before it. And of course, Jesus had said, of course, that you know, if your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. And so, if your eye causes, even if your leg causes you to sin, cut it off. Then it was the ear, like Scorpio is the ear, Judas. And Peter cuts off the ear. Well, Jesus immediately heals it because he needs it to accomplish what comes next, because of course he sees the cross in the background, in the distance, that he's going to carry, and uses it as a weapon against Satan. Shoots the galaxy at him. So yep, he's taken then into judgment. Even though he's completely innocent, he's judged and found guilty. So then remember, this is up here, this constellation here. So then he's beaten, pierced and beaten, hung on the left hand of the scale in our place, in the place of Virgo, by the Roman centurion, put to death on the cross, and then he lies down dead. So then, where are we next? Yep, so he lies down dead for 3 days, like dead in the earth for 3 days. Goes down into hell. But then he comes back again, like he rises again, like the spirit flies back into his body, like, and he rises from the dead, comes up and destroys the power of the serpent. But of course, it all starts again. So there you go. There's just a little section from the life of Jesus, which lines up with this. But that's nothing unusual, as we will see. So in the next one, then we'll I think we'll actually get to the end of this study, because I think we're done, because this is going to link things together. And I mean, we're already beginning to see how things are linking together. Like, we've got this great pattern going on. We've seen all the great patterns, and we're going to link them all together and see this great pattern. But we're not going to take advantage of it. We don't care about that. We just want to understand. Okay, we'll be done soon. See you later.